Behind is a strange idea. It only exists if we agree there is a single direction, a shared finish line, and a race we never consciously entered. Most people never stop to ask who drew the track or why everyone is running. They only feel the pressure in their chest, the quiet anxiety that they should be further ahead by now. Even those who choose extreme minimalism are not immune to this feeling. In fact, many feel it more sharply. Because when you step away from noise, from accumulation, from constant self-improvement, you don't just lose distractions. You lose the familiar markers of progress. And in that silence, a question begins to echo. Am I simplifying my life? Or am I quietly falling behind it? This fear doesn't come from owning less. It comes from living outside a system that was never designed to validate restraint. Today, we're not here to fix that fear. We're here to understand it, calmly, clearly, and without flinching. Falling behind is rarely about effort. It is almost always about measurement. Modern life does not ask whether your days feel meaningful. It asks how much you have compressed into them. Hours tracked, milestones stacked, timelines compared, all quietly reinforcing the idea that time itself is something to be conquered. This is where the anxiety begins. Extreme minimalism disrupts this system not by rejecting work or ambition, but by refusing to live on borrowed clocks. When you declutter your schedule, simplify your commitments, and practice intentional living, you step outside the dominant time culture, one built on acceleration, visibility, and constant personal development. And the moment you do, the illusion appears. Because once progress is no longer measured in outputs, upgrades, or digital signals, the mind reaches for familiar benchmarks. Career pace, income curves, social momentum, metrics that were never neutral, only normalized. The fear of falling behind is not a failure of discipline. It is the psychological withdrawal from time metrics designed for systems, not humans. Minimalist living doesn't slow time. It exposes how aggressively time has been engineered. And without those measurements constantly shouting for attention, many mistake calm for stagnation and space for absence. That misunderstanding is what we need to examine next. The problem is not that extreme minimalism makes people anxious. The problem is that it removes the noise that once disguised the anxiety. In a world driven by notifications, deadlines, and constant self-improvement, speed is mistaken for direction. As long as something is happening, the mind feels reassured. Motion becomes proof of relevance. But extreme minimalists interrupt this rhythm. They declutter not only their homes, but their timelines. Fewer commitments, less digital friction, more unstructured time. And this is where discomfort begins. Without constant comparison, the mind loses its reference points. There are no frequent updates to signal progress, no visible milestones to confirm you are on track. What remains is time, open, quiet, and unlabeled. For many, this openness does not feel like freedom at first. It feels like exposure. The fear of falling behind intensifies not because life has slowed, but because the external metrics have vanished. No dashboards, no applause, no algorithm quietly validating your pace. This is why some extreme minimalists report a strange contradiction. More clarity, yet more unease. More control, yet more doubt. The anxiety is not about doing too little. It is about no longer being measured. And when a system trains you to equate worth with visible motion, stillness can feel dangerously close to disappearance. That tension between internal calm and external irrelevance is the real problem we must now explore deeper. When people step into extreme minimalism, they expect relief. Less clutter, less distraction, less pressure. What they don't expect is temporal loneliness. Because progress in modern culture is rarely internal. It is social, visible, and synchronized. We are taught to move in recognizable stages: education, career, accumulation, optimization, all reinforced by shared timelines. Extreme minimalists quietly exit this sequence. They may still work, grow, and improve, but their lives stop producing familiar signals. No constant upgrades, no lifestyle escalation, no public proof of momentum. This creates a subtle fracture. Conversations begin to feel out of sync. Friends speak in metrics, promotions, purchases, productivity systems, while the minimalist measures days by clarity, calm, and mental health. The language no longer matches. And so the doubt creeps in. Not loudly, not dramatically, but persistently. Am I managing my time well, or wasting it? Is this intentional living, or avoidance disguised as simplicity? Is letting go wisdom, or fear of competing? Here's the part rarely discussed. The mind dislikes undefined progress more than failure. Failure still exists inside the system. Undefined progress exists outside it. Minimalist living removes friction, but it also removes urgency. And without urgency, the nervous system, trained by years of digital minimalism experiments, self-improvement culture, and productivity narratives, struggles to relax. Time stretches. Days feel spacious, yet strangely heavy. Without deadlines to chase or goals to broadcast, some begin to feel invisible, not to others, but to themselves. This is why some extreme minimalists quietly reintroduce noise. More projects, more goals, more structure than they actually need. Not because simplicity failed, but because identity had been outsourced to time-based achievement. The fear of falling behind is not solved by doing more. It is resolved by learning how to exist without constant evidence. And that adjustment is far more demanding than decluttering a home or simplifying a schedule, because it asks a deeper question. Who are you when your life no longer looks busy enough to be admired? That question brings us to the moment where extreme minimalism reveals its sharpest edge. There is a moment that arrives quietly for many extreme minimalists. Not a breakdown, not a crisis, a realization. They notice that the people who seem most ahead are often the most hurried. Their calendars full, their days optimized, their attention fragmented into measurable units. Every hour accounted for, yet strangely depleted. And in contrast, the minimalist notices something unsettling. They are not late. They are not slow. They are simply unscheduled. This is the point where the fear of falling behind either hardens or dissolves completely, because measured time was never neutral. It was built to serve systems that require output, predictability, and constant expansion. Not inner stability, not mental health, not clarity. Extreme minimalism exposes this by removing the scaffolding. No urgency injected by artificial deadlines. No identity maintained through visible busyness. Just time, uncompressed and unperformed. And here is the inversion most never reach. Those who appear ahead are often running to stay aligned with metrics that keep moving. Those who step away appear behind only because they've stopped chasing a horizon designed to retreat. The fear was never about life direction. It was about losing synchronization with a clock that never cared about meaning. Once this becomes clear, something shifts. Stillness no longer feels like stagnation. Silence no longer signals failure. And simplicity stops needing justification. Extreme minimalism does not slow your life. It reveals which parts of life we're rushing without reason. And when that illusion collapses, the question changes. Not, am I behind? But behind what exactly? Extreme minimalism, at its core, is not a lifestyle of subtraction. It is a refusal to live by borrowed measurements. The fear of falling behind does not disappear because you own less, declutter more, or master time management. It fades only when you recognize that most timelines were never designed for peace, mental health, or personal growth, only for comparison. What we've explored today is not a warning against simplicity. It's an invitation to see clearly, to notice how often motivation is manufactured by anxiety, how self-improvement quietly becomes self-surveillance, and how intentional living asks something far more difficult than productivity: the courage to let your life look unfinished to others. Extreme minimalism does not promise certainty. It offers something rarer: alignment. And alignment rarely looks impressive from the outside. If this reflection resonated, take a moment and leave a comment, not to agree or disagree, but to name where you felt the pressure of falling behind. Your experience adds depth to this conversation. And if you'd like to continue this line of thought, There's another video on the channel that explores how extreme minimalists redefine progress without urgency. You'll find it waiting. Until then, move carefully through your time, not to catch up, but to remain intact.